How to import boundaries to New Holland FieldOps. There are several ways to create or load boundaries in FieldOps. In this video, we'll walk through how to import a field boundary. To upload a boundary file into FieldOps, it must be in a .zip format. Before starting the import process, verify that the file is properly zipped and ready to use. Navigate to the location where the file is saved on your computer. If the file is not in a .zip format, the file will need to be converted before it can be imported. To zip a file, hover over the file name and right-click. Select Compress to, then click Zip File. The system will create a zipped version of the file and may prompt you to rename it. The file will be renamed Dad's Quarter. If you're not prompted to rename the file, you can do so at any time by right-clicking the file and selecting Rename. Once the file is in the correct .zip format, you're ready to begin the import process. Start by signing in to your FieldOps account. Once you're signed in, click the Send and Receive Files icon on the up-down arrow in the upper right corner of the screen. From the drop-down menu, click File Upload. The File Upload window should now appear. Next, select File by clicking the File Type drop-down menu. This box contains several manufacturers and multiple document formats. Select the manufacturer and file format that match the boundary file you want to upload. If the manufacturer or format is not listed, choose Third-Party Data. When Third-Party Data is chosen, click Supported Formats button located at the bottom left of the screen. This will show the manufacturers and file information FieldOps supports. For this example, we will upload an ISO XML file. ISO XML is the agricultural data format used for IntelliView 12 equipped machines. Click ISO 11783 XML. After selecting the file type, a new window will appear. If task information was imported, the corresponding equipment could be selected from the drop-down menu associated with the source of that information. For this process, the equipment field will remain set to Nothing Selected. Click Please Select File to upload. Navigate to the location on your computer where the boundary file Dad's Quarter is saved. Select Dad's Quarter file that was previously converted to a zip file. Then click Open in the bottom right corner of the window, or double-click the file to upload. Allow FieldOps to read the file. Reading setup data will display in the window, indicating that the system is identifying the contents of the uploaded zip file. This may include setup data, task data, agronomic data, implement data, boundaries, and other related information. The next window will appear automatically. From here, you can choose the type of data to import. Select the checkbox next to Setup Data. This instructs the system to import the setup data. Then click each triangle to expand the list and display the grower, farm, and field information. You also have the option to select Yes or No for Overwrite Existing Field Boundaries. This determines whether the imported boundary will replace an existing boundary. If No is selected, FieldOps will retain the current boundary. Select Yes if it's desired to overwrite existing boundaries that have the same grower, farm, and field information. The grower, farm, and field names must be exactly the same to overwrite existing boundaries. Click Finish to complete the process. The next window will display Importing Setup Data. This is the final step, where the data is saved to the FieldOps account. Wait for the import process to complete. Do not close this window. Allow the window to close on its own. The top of the home screen will confirm that the import has been completed. You can also verify the status by clicking the Send and Receive Files up-down arrow icon again and selecting Process Status. The Process Status window will open and, once loaded, will show Dad's quarter file has been read and successfully imported. The zipped file can then be found by clicking Setup from the left-hand FieldOps menu, then Files, and finally Data Files. At this point, Dad's quarter should appear in the Fields list in the left-hand FieldOps menu. The boundary has now been successfully imported and is ready for use.